Changing the chainring on an e-bike is one of the most basic and essential maintenance jobs that needs to be performed regularly on any e-bike. And of course, the new DJI Avinox system is no exception. In this video, I'm going to show you what you need to keep in mind and how to do it. Before you start changing the chainring, I always recommend gathering all the necessary parts and tools that you will need for the job. First and foremost, of course, is making sure you have a compatible chainring. We got the Amflow PL Carbon right here, which is equipped with a SRAM transmission group set. That means you will need a compatible T-type chainring. And this shouldn't just match your group set, it also needs to be the correct size if you want to continue using your current chain. So, be sure to order one with exactly the same number of teeth as your existing chainring to ensure proper compatibility. You can find compatible chainrings for the Amflow as well as for all other systems in our shop. We also need the Avinox lock ring tool. We'll use that to carefully remove the lock ring. The lock ring tool is typically used together with a compatible ratchet and a torque wrench. We'll also need a standard set of Allen keys for the chain guide, for example, or for what else may be installed on your e-bike as well. And one more tip, you should also have a cable tie ready. I will show you later why. The very first thing I recommend doing is carefully removing the crank arm. In order to do that, simply insert the 8mm Allen key into the crank bolt. It has an integrated crank puller, which means you just have to use a good steady amount of force to turn it counterclockwise in order to loosen it. Here I would recommend that if it feels too tight or too difficult, or if you are not particularly well trained, as in my case, you place it on the ground first. From there, you can gradually turn it further using your foot while keeping the crank steady with your arm until it loosens enough for you to pull the crank off with ease. Next, we can go ahead and loosen the lock ring on the bicycle. For that, we'll use the rigid ratchet, not the torque wrench, with the appropriate Amflow lock ring tool. Place it on and loosen the lock ring by turning it counterclockwise as well. It's important to note that, because on other systems it's the exact opposite, but with the Amflow bike you turn it to the left to loosen, just like you're used to with most other bolts. And again, you'll need a good amount of force to loosen this too. If you want, you can use the crank arm on the non-drive side of your bike to help hold it securely in place and then loosen it with a sharp, firm tug. Once you've done this, you can simply unscrew the lock ring completely together with the tool. Next, if your bike has one, we'll carefully loosen the chain guide. In the case of the Amflow, this is done with a 2.5mm Allen key. Then we can remove the chain and take the chainring completely off the motor. If, as in this case, we have a chainring with a spider mount, we now, of course, still need to remove the chainring from the spider. To do that, simply loosen the chainring bolts with the appropriate Allen key. You'll need a lot of force for this as well. And if the nuts on the other side start to turn as well, you'll need a special chainring nut wrench to hold them in place. And once we've loosened all 4 bolts, since it's a 4-bolt mount, we can put on a new chainring that's compatible with the system and tighten the whole thing again to about 8 Nm. This way you can't really break anything. Just tighten it down firmly, and just like that we've replaced the chainring on the spider. Before we put the spider back on the motor, I always recommend cleaning it up a bit. Or you can do it beforehand so you don't get your hands so dirty, because this part might be a bit greasy. This just ensures that nothing creaks or anything like that. Just give it a little clean and then put the spider back on the motor and secure it loosely with the lock ring tool and the lock ring. Now carefully and gently tighten the whole thing in a clockwise direction. Next, we can put the chain back onto the chainring, making sure it is securely seated because we'll need it now. To tighten it, we're going to lock the rear wheel by using the cable tie I mentioned earlier on the brake lever. This way, the entire drivetrain can't move. And now we can put the lock ring tool on a torque wrench and tighten the lock ring clockwise. It's a standard right-hand thread to 35 Nm. Once you've gotten this far, you can now reattach the chain guide, if you have one, and also properly put the crank arm back on. And here, it's just the reverse of taking it off. Just like before, simply screw the crank bolt into the crank axle and tighten it with all your strength until it won't go any further. Amflow specifies a torque of 48 to 54 Nm here, so you can't really do much damage with just your muscle power. If you have a suitable torque wrench on hand, you can of course check the correct torque. And that's how easily you've changed the chainring on your Avinox system. If you have any more questions, feel free to write them in the comments and I'll answer them for you. If you want to watch a more detailed video on the topic of changing the drivetrain, I recommend this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you here again soon.